All right, we are happy to have with us this morning Cousin Sal. And Cousin Sal, not only is myself here, but I've got our degenerate gambler from the Bicoastal Media newsroom, JB Mathers. JB, say good morning.
Good morning, Sal. It's a pleasure to have you on. Big fan.
What's up, Rollin? JB, thanks for having me.
I say you're a gambler just like JB, but you've made probably a little more of a living out of it than JB ever has, and we're here to talk about a book you've got. It's called You Can't Lose Them All, Tales of a Degenerate Gambler and His Ridiculous Friends. But on a weekly basis, you're always picking games and laying some money down and so forth. Tell us how all that came about.
Oh, man. I mean, there's so many starting points. I don't know where to go. You know, I was always did you guys, I don't know how old you guys are. Did you flip baseball cards when you were younger?
I'm a little older than JB, so yeah, a little bit of that. JB may have as well.
Okay. So, I mean, there were different ways to do it. You could literally flip them against the wall and see which ones end up heads or tails and take your foe's card, or you could go by position, or you could go by color and flip them. I would always, when I was 6 years old, I guess I would flip, everybody would flip 5 cards against each other. That wasn't enough of a rush for me. I would flip like 100 cards against a few people. So, I mean, there was that. There was my Aunt Chippy who got me into video poker. I would give her my newspaper route money, and she would play it for me. And my grandmother played bingo. There were so many ways. I really didn't have a chance. I was going to be a gambler no matter which way I turned here. And then that turned itself into sports gambling, which I now have a love affair that I can't part with.
Has that been a profitable sideline for you there? Because you also are, an attorney and a few other things going on.
Yeah, I somehow made it through law school. I hated that. I was actually probably gambling my most when I was in law school, ironically, committing felonies as it was going along. But no, it's not been profitable. I'm not going to be I'm not like one of these guys who come on and say, yeah, I hit 59%, and that's a nice profit. But I've lost money now. I've been lucky enough to parlay it into like a podcast and a Fox Bet Live on Fox Sports, a roundtable, gambling show, which allows me to talk about gambling. I get a paycheck from that every week that I then squander on the weekend games. But but I would say betting, just pure betting wise, I'm down over the last 35 years or so.
Sal, 2 questions for me. One, do you trust your gut or the numbers when you come to making your picks on your own money? Maybe not the ones you're giving out to the public, but when you use your own money. And then advice to degenerate gamblers, how we can enjoy the action without breaking the bank.
Oh man, those are both good questions. It's got to be a combination of my gut and the numbers, because what's funny about the NFL. I'll take it just as an example. Every year I seem to pick up a team that I can't trust, right? So now it's like I can only really bet on six teams. Like, all right, the Falcons have screwed me over. The Lions have screwed me over. The Chargers certainly have. All these teams lose in spectacular fashion. So trusting my gut has become more difficult unless they expand the league, unless they go to like 100 teams. I'm going to have a problem. I'm going to run out of teams. I certainly don't like my team, the Dallas Cowboys. As far as, the second question, how did you phrase it?
How do you enjoy the action without breaking the bank?
It's so hard. It really is. I mean, I've gotten to a point where I have to have money on everything. I mean, even if it's my kid's flag football game, I'll find some other parent who will bet $5 on the outcome. I'll lay a spread or something. But hopefully you're not entrenched as I am, and you can just enjoy it. There are different levels, right? So you could do sports gambling. I think underneath that is daily fantasy, which the high risk, low risk, high reward, and then you could just be in pools with your friends, and I recommend that. That's fun too. That doesn't break the bank, and that's a year-long proposition, and you could keep that going.
Cousin Sal in his book, You Can't Lose Them All, Tales of a Degenerate Gambler and His Ridiculous Friends. I have to ask you this, because I'm a referee at the high school and some junior college level. You were a ref one time, but you were fixing children's basketball games?
Yes, that's true. It had to be done. I was going to college in Oswego, New York, and my friend Harry and I had gotten into debt. We owed hundreds of dollars to the local bookie, which might as well have been like $30 million because we didn't have it. But the bookie liked us and coincidentally ran a rec league and hired us to. He said, you know what, you could work off your debt. I'll pay you $6 per game So I'd still be reffing the games if I needed to, pay this off. But we appreciate the opportunity. We ref the games, but quickly became bored with it and started gambling on the games themselves. So I would bet against Harry. We would be reffing the same game. So you would see phantom traveling calls, offensive fouls, just out of bounds, weird stuff. And the kids were starting to get mad. They started to catch on. And the parents were mad too, because this was a competitive league. And on more than one occasion, they'd follow us out of the gym. And we didn't have cars either. So we had to walk home. So they followed us for as long as they wanted to, basically. And eventually the bookie was like, yeah, you guys are fired. I gave you an opportunity here and you blew it. So that was that.
Sal, you talk about your bookie. When's the state of California going to get with the program here and let me go down to my local spot and drop a couple dollars?
I know, isn't it? It sucks. And I think we hit a bump in the road. But now I'm hearing there is a little progress. The one good thing about coronavirus in terms of sports gambling is I think it's kind of some of these states that were going to slow play legislation are now having it at the front of the docket because they're so in debt, and it's free money for them. I mean, New Jersey had $900 million in gambling. That's not what they take. That's not their take. But at 5% of that, that's a good amount to turn your back to if you're California, if you're Florida, if you're Texas, if you're New York, any of these big states that haven't legalized it yet. I think the tribes are the issue here. I mean, it doesn't make sense unless you legalize it in a mobile capacity. And, some of the Native American, the casinos, they want you to go in person. They don't want to lose money. And if they put that bill up front, it's not going to make any sense. So it's a delicate situation right there.
I've got
maybe in a year and a half or so.
Sal, I've got a question for you because I know we're going to run out of time here. Those that don't recognize you, if they're not watching Fox, probably know you from your cousin, Jimmy Kimmel. How did that relationship bring you onto TV, and is that an ongoing thing that you enjoy?
Yeah, sure. I love it. I'd always, Jimmy was a DJ like you guys. He got fired from 7 radio shows in 10 years. But during that time, I would do characters for him. I would do radio bits for him. And then I went on to become a lawyer, stupidly, and I hated it. And he landed at KRED in LA, and he's like, you know what? You hate it. Why don't you come out here? I'll teach you how to write. For this game show I'm hosting, Win Ben Stein's Money. I do syndicated sports radio bits. You can write those. And I was like, that's great. I'll live in your office. That's fine if you'll allow it. And that was that. And then, he did the Man Show and Jimmy Kimmel Live, where I would do pranks. And I'm on tonight. I'll be promoting the book on tonight. He really saved my life, and I'm glad. And I would not have any money to gamble and waste if it weren't for him.
Sal, I'm sure we're just about out of time, and it could be an involved story, and I'm sure it's in the book. But is there a sporting event where you took either your baddest beat or your greatest triumph?
There's so many. I remember the bad beats more than anything, and I think I would have to say La La Land over. We bring up Jimmy. Jimmy was hosting the Oscars, and it should have been enough of a thrill for me to just write for him on the Oscars with a select group of people he was hosting. And no, it wasn't enough. I had to make a parlay with Best Picture, supporting actor, Best Director, and I had 4 for 4 in the parlay. I needed one more Best Picture, and I had La La Land over Moonlight. La La Land had won all the other awards. They won the Golden Gloves, the BAFTA, everything, Golden Globes rather, everything, every indicator award that would suggest that they were going to win again. They were announced as the winners. I win. I high-five myself. And then I see a bunch of producers in ponytails, men running around, and I knew something was up. And we all know the ending. They switched the envelopes, and Moonlight was the winner. So that was, I think, when you're announced the winner and it's taken away from you, that's as bad a beat as you can get.
That's got to hurt. Well, listen, Cousin Sal, the book is You Can't Lose Them All, Tales of a Degenerate Gambler and His Ridiculous Friends. We'll watch you tonight on your cousin Jimmy Kimmel show. And if it's not a pre-recorded thing, you're going to be on there live, go ahead and drop JB and my name, Rollin, and we'll get you back on then free of charge. How's that?
Okay, good. I might say Rollin and JB if that's okay.
That works perfect for us.
World, bud.
On the order.
Cousin Sal, it's a pleasure having you on the program. And again, the book is You Can't Lose Them All, and we look forward to getting all the way through it. Thanks.
Thanks, fellas. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Bye-bye.